Hello, everyone. Welcome to my lesson on practical self-care tools for social work students. My name is Camille Lloyd. I am a registered social worker. I'm also a practicing psychotherapist with my private practice part-time called Peppermint Wellness Therapy. Therefore, with all the, you're going to see a lot of peppermint pictures all over this PowerPoint. I'll explain my connection to peppermint later in the lesson. So again, my name is Camille Lloyd. I am a registered social worker, psychotherapist. I'm very happy to let you guys know that I'm also going to be a psychotherapist for Wilfrid Laurier for their racialized and Black students. So looking forward to starting my position. Actually, next week I begin. So excited for that opportunity. I'm also a PhD student, just started my first semester at the University of Toronto. Very excited for that. And it's so fitting that I'm discussing practical self-care tools, which ties to my research interests. So I went over a little bit about who I am, so I won't go into much into this slide. So move on to the next. I'm excited. I'm going to be excited throughout this presentation because this is something that I love to talk about, self-care. So this particular slide that you're looking at right now, it's called my self-care tool. It's called a peaceful place. So a peaceful place is a self-care tool that I do all the time with myself and with clients. And basically what I get them to do, I get them to imagine a peaceful place or experience. And what comes to mind, what positive thoughts, sensations, feelings, emotions comes to mind, have them sit with it for a while, notice it, and have them report back to me. This is really good self-care tool to use before bed, in the morning when you're going for an exam, maybe you're going for doing a presentation, peaceful place, and it's just basically having you go into a peaceful place so you can help to self-regulate and to be calm and your nervous system to be calm. So that's the parasympathetic nervous system right there, to be calm so you can be able to function. So it's called a peaceful place activity. It is from EMDR. So I would encourage you, if you want to use it, to learn more about it. But it's been really effective for me in my work. So the objective today, so that was a bit of a grounding exercise I like to start with. So the objective today is to understand various forms of self-care tools. And some of these tools are not going to be, it's not going to be new to you, but we're going to talk about it. And to familiarize yourself with strategies, I'm excited to talk about the window of tolerance. This is something that I use all the time in my work. And also in the latter part of the lesson is to talk about self as a healer. So according to Dr. Jane Heckerson, so she's a professor in the social work program in Texas. So she highlights that self-care involves self-regulation, which includes mental and physical processes necessary for achieving internal and external balance. So basically, it's about the physical body, but it's also about your brain too as well, mental health too as well. So both of them are needed. I would also add that research has also said the spiritual health is also important. And we'll talk about spirituality and religion later on in the presentation. Research also highlights the importance of mental health providers prioritizing self-care to prevent or reduce burnout, emphasizing that self-care practices are essential for maintaining our well-being and effectiveness in our role. So what is the Canadian Association of Social Workers saying about this? Well, according to them, some individuals often overlook the emotional impact of their work. For a registered social worker, it is crucial to recognize how their profession affects their overall well-being. So regular participation in self-care practices, it is vital for addressing workplace challenges such as vicarious trauma, feeling of vulnerability, stress from job demands, and compassion fatigue. I want you to take a moment and answer these questions. What strategies or tools are you using to support your self-care and addressing the needs of your body, mind, and spirit? Also, what challenges do you face in prioritizing self-care as a social work student? Now, let's get on to specific self-care tools. We all know how important movement is, like exercising. And Health Canada and other research is suggesting the importance of movement, such as walking, jogging, yoga, strength training, swimming, dancing, whatever you do to energize your body, how important that is, and how we should incorporate that as part of our self-care tools. And we should also do it as part of routine. For example, for me, my self-care movement exercise is going to the gym, doing strength training, going on the treadmill, going on the Stairmaster, doing stretches, getting my body energized. That's how I take care of myself. That's a practical self-care tools that I use. For you, it might be recreational sports. Whatever energizes you, do it as part of your self-care practice. Now let's talk about talk therapy and the power of talk therapy. As someone who's a psychotherapist, someone who's also have my own therapist, I can't tell you how powerful psychotherapy is in terms of self-care. So it supports mind-body health, right? It acts as a self-regulator checkup for your emotional well-being. It provides tools to manage stress and anxiety effectively. It offers strategies to handle challenges with resilience. It's very important that we are talking to someone that we trust, of course, but someone that it's trained in talk therapy to help us through our journey in terms of our mental health journey. So this is a vital self-care tool for you to have is talk therapy. Let's talk about somatic experiencing. And somatic experiencing is something that I'm new to, but I love it. It's a body-based therapy. Actually, I'm not new to it because we all do somatic experiencing therapy in terms of maybe yoga could be one, but somatic experiencing that I'm doing recently is called somatic tracking. So what somatic tracking is that I often close my eyes and I just feel in my body where the sensations are. So at times I might feel my heart and my stomach and so on. And I'm not judging my negative sensations. I'm being with it. And the thing is by being in tune with your sensations, working through them would help you to feel good as opposed to running away from them. So that's more kind of a body-based therapy. And that's developed by the amazing Dr. Peter Levine. You can check him out on Instagram and YouTube. He's all over. He's got tons of books. He's well researched. He's an amazing academic, amazing researcher. Please check him out if you're interested in somatic experiencing, which is more the body-based therapy. Let's talk also about another self-care tool, mindfulness. We all know research says that mindfulness is a useful self-care tool and how powerful mindfulness is for our body and mind, spirit, and soul. For example, I recently begun a mindfulness training course where I have to sit in silence for an hour. And actually, in a couple months, we're going to do a 7 hour where I have to sit totally in silence for 7 hours. So that's not going to be you, right now. But mindfulness is a way for us to be in the present moment, to be in tune with what's going on with us in the present moment. It's a great self-care tool to have. And even if you're just practicing just 5 minutes a day. There's tons of videos on YouTube, 5 minutes a day, and you have different people, and maybe someone is going to speak to you to get you into mindfulness. And something I will want to acknowledge about mindfulness. Mindfulness isn't about judging your thoughts. Like a lot of people would say to me, I cannot pay attention, but that's okay. That's the point. You're training your mind to pay attention. So again, mindfulness is an amazing tool to have as part of your practical self-care tool. Let's talk about what we put in our body, what we eat to nourish ourselves. Health Canada has guidelines on this about incorporating whole foods into your diet, fruits and vegetables, right? How that, by putting those things in your body, how healthy it makes your body and how much you need of that to feed yourself. And I do want to acknowledge that food insecurity is real for university students and how difficult it is for some students to get whole grains. Fruits are expensive, vegetables are expensive. So I just want to put that out there. But go on Health Canada's website and find out for you what is a balanced diet and incorporate that into your self-care routine. Let's look at sleep, right? We all know how important sleep is. Sleep is really important for us to be able to function the next day. Something that you need to be aware of is if you need a good night's sleep and you drink caffeine or alcohol or energy drink before because you're cramming for an exam or an assignment or something like that, it's going to disrupt your sleep. You cannot have it 2 hours before sleep if you want to get a good night rest. So something to pay attention to. More in the resource section of my lesson that you can find more on this, as well as in my reference if you want to learn more on this topic. But good sleep is really important part of our self-care tool. Let's move on to taking breaks. Breaks are really important. Did you know that after 90 minutes of focused work, your energy depletes? So therefore, this is why you need to get up and have a 15-minute break. Something to keep in mind is that regular breaks help sustain productivity and keep your mind fresh. The Pomodoro technique, not sure if you heard about that. So this is where trying to be effective to improve students' concentration. For example, if you're doing an assignment, work for 24 minutes and then go for a break for 6 minutes. I've used it. It worked really well for me in my studies. So I'll encourage you, get to know this technique and let it be part of your self-care tool as well. Let's move on to medication. Won't spend too much time on this. Medication is really important if you're prescribed medication. Medication, not taking a medication as prescribed is going to make you not feel good. This is why it needs to be part of your self-care tool. For me, I have thyroid issue. I have to take thyroid medication every day, which I do. I have to take it at the same time, the same dose. And if I don't feel well. So that's part of my self-care tool as well. Taking it as prescribed is going to make you feel better. Let's move on to religion and spirituality. Religion and spirituality really important for some folks if that's what they choose to do to take care of their wellness, and research backs this up, as you can see. So it's a powerful tool to use because it enhances wellness and overall well-being. It gives people a sense of purpose, connection, and it supports their emotional and mental health as well. I use prayer. I use the chakra system. I smudge. I use energy work. I use different ways of being spiritual, and that's helped me in terms of my journey in my social work program and also in my practice too as well. As well as now that I'm a PhD student, I draw from my spirituality a lot. So that's something that I use, and research is suggesting this is a good self-care tool if you decide to use it to have. Let's look at herbal teas. So herbal teas has been around for a long time. We know herbal teas, according to research, has worked. It's really good on the digestive system. As you can tell, I love peppermint. Of course, peppermint tea is going to be something that I'm drawing to. But whatever herbal teas you use, again, make sure that that's part of your self-care tool to take care of yourself. It could be before bed or in the morning, or maybe in the afternoon, you're drawing for a cup of your favorite herbal tea. So that's a good way of caring for your well-being. So that's another way of, that's another tool to have in terms of for your self-care. Let's move on to aromatherapy. We love the smell of lavender, of peppermint, of other things that it works. And I think, not think, these things work on your nervous system. right? It calms your nervous system. When your nervous system is calm, you're able to function better. You're not overwhelmed so much. So this is where aromatherapy and all these other things work really well as part of our self-care tool because it calms our nervous system. It works in our parasympathetic nervous system, right? This is why it's so powerful. So aromatherapy is another good tool to have. Now I'm excited to talk about this window of tolerance. So in order to have self-care tools, you have to know when to use certain self-care tools. So the window of tolerance, developed by Dan Siegel, looks at when you're out of your window of tolerance. Hypoarousal is where anxiety, just picture the sympathetic, anxiety, overwhelm. And then hypoarousal, I say, is where depression hangs out, right? So anxiety hangs out in hypoarousal, depression hangs out in hypoarousal. Now, what tools are you going to use when you're in either of these to get you back into your window of tolerance so you can function? So, for example, if you have a test, maybe the tool that you're going to use, you're going to be in the hypoarousal, that anxiety where you're fight flight kind of situation. Maybe for you is like maybe going for a run on the treadmill, maybe going for a run outside, maybe go to do something more active or physical to get that right out of you. Or maybe if you're in hypoarousal, you got a bad grade, you're not feeling well, depression, maybe it's just having a bubble bath, praying, spirituality. Maybe that's what you're going to draw on. I want you to be very intentional here about using your tools at the right time. And the reason why a lot of people will say this didn't work for me is because you're using the wrong tool at the wrong time. The tool is okay, but you're using it at the wrong time because remember, you're working on your nervous system. You're working your nervous system to get it into the parasympathetic state. And if you're in the hyperarousal and you're using a tool that don't work well at that time with your nervous system, it's not going to be beneficial for you. So understanding the science behind this, it's not just about I'm having a bubble bath, but why you're having a bubble bath. What part of you do you need to soothe to have a bubble bath? Maybe the part that I need to soothe, I'm in the hypoarousal. That's why I feel down, depressed. I need to have that. The visual here is developed by Juliet Young, an amazing psychologist. Please check her out on Instagram. She's an amazing work. So she created this visual of the window of tolerance. Please learn more in terms of the resources that I'm going to share about the window of tolerance. You can reach out to me to learn more about the window of tolerance. Again, I want to highlight it. We have to understand our window of tolerance, our nervous system. When we're out of our window of tolerance, what we need if we're in the hyper anxiety, fight, flight, remember, anxiety, what tools are you going to use? If you're in the hypoarousal, what tools do you use to get you into the window of tolerance so you can function and not be so overwhelmed and activated? It's not a bad thing to be out of your window of tolerance. It's just finding the right self-care tools, which that's what this lesson is about, for you to learn to manage your nervous system. Now I want to end on this. The amazing Rosemary Gladstar. I am a healer. I'm radiant. I have a radiant voice within me that guides me. I can make decisions for myself. I can rely on others as needed, but at my discretion. It is my body, my health, my balance, and my responsibility to make right choices for myself. Right choices include competent healthcare professionals when necessary, allowing friends and families as needed, and above all, being true to my beliefs with the wisdom and willingness to change as part of my part of healing. So what Rosemary Gladstar is saying that you can be your own healer, but you're going to need, whether it be people, maybe the land around you to help you to heal. And that can be part of your self-care tools, but you're in charge of this. So understanding who you are and what self-care tools work best for you is what this is all about. This is about you and your practical self-care tools. And I'm hoping that the stuff that I shared in this lesson can help you strengthen your self-care toolbox and so on. So thank you so much for listening to me. These are my resources. Please check them out. It's going to be up for you in the PowerPoint as well as my reference. Thank you so much for listening.